few weeks ago, we did a presentation on 4440, smokeless versus black powder ammunition. Now, I have loaded 4440, but I've never loaded black powder 4440. So that was my first take on it. And the projectiles that I was using were Desperado bullets, 200 grain, and these are made out of soft lead. And I had two loads, one with 30 grains of 3F and the other with 40 grains of 3F, same projectile. And the 30 grain loads shot really, really well. They were plenty accurate, fun to shoot. They moved right at 1,200 feet per second, which I was pretty happy with. But the 40 grain load, which was moving almost 1,400 feet per second, I couldn't hit anything with. Not a freaking thing. I mean, at 25 yards, it was shooting probably about a foot group. I mean, bad. Now, I get accused from time to time of only being concerned about having the highest velocity. The people say that I'm not concerned with how it actually grips. That's not true. I shoot plenty of paper. I just find it boring to film and boring to watch. And as far as the 40 grain load from the last video, I can't show you what it did on paper because I never hit the paper. It was that bad. But just to change things up, we're going to make some 4440 gallery loads. Now, a gallery load is typically just a loaded down version of whatever cartridge it is that you're using. In this particular case, it's 4440. Now, I have used up all of my Desperado bullets. I only had 100 of them. But as luck would have it, a buddy of mine had a box of 240 grain lead round nose bullets that are for 44 special or 44 mag. So I ran these through my sizing die and sized them down to 427, and that's what we're going to use.
Now, something that I neglected to mention in the last video was that anytime I load black powder cartridge, I always melt the smokeless lube off and lube the projectiles with my homemade black powder lube made from lamb's tallow and beeswax.
Now, for this particular test, we're going to have a black powder and a smokeless load. The smokeless load is 3 grains of Trail Boss with the same 240 grain bullet. The black powder load is a whopping 12 grains of 3F Swiss with 10 cc's worth of cream of wheat filler and a 240 grain bullet. Now, I did do things a little bit different this time. I've said in the past that when I'm doing gallery loads, I don't usually put card wads between the powder and the filler and the bullet and all of that, but I did this time. I used the 12 grains of 3F Swiss with a card wad on top of that. Then I put the 10 cc's of filler, and then I put a lubed felt wad on top of that, and then the projectile. A little bit more of a production, but I wanted to see if it would help with the fouling. Just for sport. I have done tests like these in the past and have found that it didn't really make much of any noticeable difference, at least not to me. So, here's how it went. All right, so these are 3 grains of Trail Boss with a 240 grain projectile. And I've been trying to get these 240 grainers to shoot somewhat decent. And we'll see if this stuff even comes out of the barrel. Oh, it did.
There we go.
Hey, that worked really well.
Yeah, it did.
Super quiet.
What's the load? 240 a what?
3 grains of Trail Boss with a 240 grain bullet.
There you go.
Okay, let's try the other ones.
All right.
All right, so these are black powder gallery loads. Now these are loaded with a whopping 12 grains of 3F Swiss and I think 10 cc's worth of cream of wheat filler. That's louder. Not that it's loud, but
nice.
yeah, all it takes is 12 grains.
That's interesting.
12 grains.
No squib or nothing.
No, the interesting thing about black powder stuff is it'll push that thing out of there with like 5 grains It doesn't take hardly any to get it to come out the barrel.
Really?
It might not be effective. It might be like throwing a rock.
Yeah. But at least it won't squib.
You'll have a lot less black powder to get it out than you would with smokeless, where you'll have a squib.
Yeah. All right.
That was fun.
Yeah, you see, we are not sponsored by Gatorade, but it does have what plants crave.
See, are there any holes in this that we can count? 1, 2, 3-ish, maybe. And this here. Oh, this has more.
1, 2,
3.
3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know which one was which though.
This one was over on the left side.
So that was the black powder ones then?
Yes, sir.
I don't think Israel had a good hit on him at all.
He never did.
I don't think
he never did.
I don't think he had a solid hit on him at all.
No, he didn't.
Through the whole fight.
I watched the slow-mo. The best he did could kind of reach out and
just right at the end of his reach.
Just touch him.
Yeah.
Just touch him. Anyways.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, so this is the 3 grains of Trail Boss with the 240 grain bullet. 546. I told you they were in the 5.
Yeah, he's right. 498.
507
7?
or 501.
Yeah. All right.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that these are 650.
Think so?
The black powder ones are 650.
I'm gonna reach out and I'm gonna say 8.
Really, with 12 grains? You think so?
Yep.
All
I'm
right.
gonna say 8. With how much louder they are, I'm gonna say 8.
Okay. There it goes.
All right.
620. 44. Come on. 608. I'll give you one more.
Yeah. Get a proper reading.
Don't do it like that. Don't be a jerk off. I mean, worse than usual. 599.
What'd you say?
650.
Oh,
About-
you got
about
me.
600, I think.
You got me on the bet.
Isn't that interesting though? That's 12 grains of 3F Swiss.
That blows me away.
Seems to be hitting where I'm aiming.
Here are some wads from the black powder loads. You could see the lubed felt wads in my palm, and then one card wad that was in between the powder and the filler up there by my fingers.
So let's see how we did. So our smokeless load averaged a whopping 515 feet per second with a max spread of 48. The black powder load averaged 609 feet per second with a max spread of 21. Now, I think this is kind of interesting because you're getting 600 feet per second out of a 24-inch barreled rifle with 12 grains of 3F Swiss. That seems like a very little powder to get that kind of velocity. Not that 600 feet per second is screaming fast, but it just shows that it doesn't take a lot of black powder to get that thing out of there, which is something I mentioned when we were shooting it. Again, I probably should address the smokeless in an antique black powder cartridge firearm elephant in the room. There is no published load data for 4440 with a 240 grain bullet and Trail Boss. I know it might sound scary, but I pretty much just winged it and made that up. Obviously, it's fine. If I had to take a guess based on the performance and looking at other data for 44 Special and 4440, I doubt that that load is over 7,000 PSI. Now, I know there's always folks that say it doesn't matter, it still could cause a problem, and if you're one of those folks, that's fine. The best part about this kind of shit is you don't have to do any of this. If you don't like it, you don't have to. Again, I've said it before, if you're one of those people that's watching this and saying, I would never, ever shoot any kind of smokeless ammo through my fill in the blank, that's great. You don't have to. But again, I think this does show something pretty interesting, that 12 grains of powder, of black powder that is, will get you 600 feet per second. That's a good plinking load. That's good for shooting squirrels at my mom's house and stuff like that. So, there. As for the 240 grain bullets, those things worked pretty well. We didn't put it on paper, and I know I hear that all the time. How come you never put stuff on paper? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. But these are worthy of that for sure. These are worthy of developing further. So we'll try that next time. So, as usual, folks, if you thought this video didn't suck, do me a favor and hit the like button and consider subscribing. And if you did think it sucked, well, then go make your own damn video.